we as developers, we tend to develop our sites and apps for users like ourselves. And that often means a sighted mouse user who has, well, good fine motor control and could be described as a power user. But you know, not every user is like that. Not everybody can see. Not everybody uses a mouse. There are people who use, for example, keyboards or keyboard emulating devices. Not everyone has good fine motor control. And as we all know, not everyone is good with computers. So we also need to take those users into account and remember that our sites and apps need to be usable for those people as well. So my name is Eeva-Jonna Panula, or Eevis Panula. I'm a senior software developer and accessibility specialist in Futures in Finland. And I'm also a certified professional in web accessibility. So that's a credential from International Association of Accessibility Professionals. I think it's like IAAP is the acronym. And when I'm not developing or coding or talking about coding or writing about coding, I'm exploring the world around here or the waters around here with a kayak. So, hi. Today we are going to talk about ways we as developers, we can develop sites that are usable and accessible for, well, I could say all users, and also maybe use the word a bit more accessible for all users, because even if you do everything I suggest in this talk, your site is not going to be 100% accessible, but it's going to be a bit more accessible at least. And first, I'm going to say a couple of words about automated accessibility testing, and then I spend the majority of the time with those checks that the title of this talk promises, so manual testing. So yeah, automated accessibility testing. I mean, like when I'm talking about automated accessibility testing here, I mean all those tools that basically take some code and go through it and then find problems from there or issues from there. And good examples of those tools are, for example, linters or test integrations. So there are at least for Cypress.io and Jest, or those are the ones I've been using at some point. And then browser extensions. So there are, for example, Axe from DQ and Wave from WebAIM. And again, those are ones that I've been using. But as to how they work is that they take code and go through it and then try to find problems from there or issues from there. It means that they are good for certain kinds of tasks. So if there are things like missing alt attributes, so if you have an image, you need to have the alt attribute there. So image tag, image element, there needs to be this alt attribute. And these tools are really good for checking if the attribute is present or if it's not. But when it comes to meaning, so those alt texts should be descriptive. And then if the image is decorative, the alt text should actually be an empty string, but it should be there. The attribute should be there, but it should be an empty string so that assistive technology knows that, okay, this is just purely decorative image. Then these tools aren't really good for that because, well, we don't yet have good algorithms for example, images, knowing what's the intent of this picture, for example. So yeah, they don't solve everything. And depending on the studies, these tests catch only about from 15 to 40 or 50% of accessibility issues or failures or barriers. It's like the word could be basically any one of those there. And even if we take the best number, so 50%, this means that there is only half of the issues that get catched. And then like the other half that are actually barriers, issues for users, well, they don't catch them. And that's why we need to test manually too. And next, I'm gonna present some checks that we all can and should do while we are developing our sites. And I'm gonna also present some issues that I find when I'm testing, for example, or when I'm developing something, so that you get an idea why these things are important. So the first thing is to test your site with only a keyboard. So this means that don't use your mouse for this. And okay, you can use your mouse for placing the focus to the start of the page. So you can, for example, place the, like, click the address bar and start from there and start navigating forward with a tab key. And then, like, if you need to go backwards, it's shift and tab. And when you encounter a control, so for example, a link, you test that they activate, that you can use them, and or like, for example, a button, it's even more important. So when you encounter a link, it should get activated with enter. And if you encounter a button, it should get activated with either enter or spacebar. So test those. And the idea is that you test everything on the page, so that, like, you know that keyboard users can use the site, like everything on the site, as like the mouse users can use. So every piece of, like, every widget, everything on the site. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna talk about two problems that I often find when I'm testing pages, that are easy to find with keyboard testing. The first one is disappearing focus, and the second one is unusable controls. So first, I'm gonna place the focus on the link that says I am a visible link. There is a focus indicator around it. And that focus indicator is a rectangle, which is pink on my screen. So, yep. And I'm gonna use tab to move to the checkbox that says show list. But like, now that we are on this checkbox, and now that we, like, what we see on the screen is that there is a button under the checkbox that says I am also visible. And now that I start going forward with tab, I would imagine that the next stop where the focus would land is this button that says I am also visible. So let's test. I'm gonna tap. Okay, no, the focus indicator disappeared completely. Okay, let's try again. Nope. And once more. Okay, here we are. Now the focus is on the button. And the reason for focus to disappear is that, I'm going to go back and toggle the show list checkbox, is that there actually is a list of links with, like, the first item, second item, third item texts. And I had actually hidden the list with CSS and with, like, just positioning it outside of the view. So it was visually hidden, but I didn't use anything like display none or like removing it completely from the DOM, which means that these links are actually in the focus order. So because they are in the DOM, they are after the checkbox, the focus went to the list items, so the links on the list, and only after that to the button. So yeah, and this is fairly common pattern in navigation menus. And that's like, it can be really, really confusing when you just don't know where you are on the page. Actually, imagine if you were using the internet without seeing your cursor when you are using a mouse. So that's basically the same idea. So let's, like, when we are hiding things, let's hide them inclusively. So for example, CSS property display none is a good one, or just removing them from the DOM completely. All right, then another thing, I'm gonna move to the I am also visible button. And then after that, there is this I have no focus indicator link. And after that, there is a link that says, but I have. So I'm gonna tap to the next one. I would imagine it goes, I have no focus indicator link. And after that, to the but I have link. So let's try. Okay, I tapped and the focus is lost again. And now after second tap, we are here again. So yeah, you might guess that because the link has this text, I have no focus indicator, that there is no focus indicator, and I've removed it from this link with CSS property outline set to none. And unfortunately, that's pretty common pattern, and focus indicators get hidden from, yeah, with this outline set to none. And I would say that let's never use that unless you are making the focus indicator even more visible with something else. But like, just let's remember that this focus indicator, that's crucial for some people. So yeah, all right. Then next thing is unusable controls. And there is a button that says click me, and I'm gonna click it. And there is an alert saying click happened. All right, great. I'm gonna just have the focus in the but I have link. And now the next place I would imagine the focus would land when I press tab is that click me button. And then after that, this I'm here just for the show link. So let's test. Okay, it just went straight to the I'm here just for the show link. That's interesting. And the reason for that is that the so-called button is not actually a button. It's a div, which has a on-click handler and no like tab index set or keyboard event listeners or roll button or anything. So it's basically unusable for everybody who is not using a mouse. And you could, of course, add the tab index to add it into the focus order, or you could, and actually not or, and you could add the event listeners for keyboard events, and you could add the roll button there for screen readers or like assistive technology to know that there is a button, because without that roll, screen reader users, they don't have any idea that there even is a button. So, but that's lots of work. And, you know, there is this semantic HTML element called button, which provides everything else, all of these things out of the box. And it's like, you don't need to do anything to use that. You can style it the same way as divs, basically. So like, yeah. So if you don't remember anything else from this talk, I hope that you remember that that never use a div instead of button, just use the semantic elements. So yeah, that's something that I hope that you all will remember. All right. The next check would be checking the page language. And how you can do this is that you can open the open your browser's dev tools and find the tab where you can see the outline of the HTML. And from that outline, you can find the HTML tag. There should be a lang attribute there, and it should be set to the language that the page content is. So basically, if the page content is in English, it should be set to EN. If it's in Finnish, it should be FI. If it's in Russian, it should be RU, and so forth. So yeah, and why is that? It's because screen readers use that information for reading the content on the page and like for the pronunciation of the content. So basically, if there is a like that attribute is set to English, then it reads in basically in English that text on the page. And then if it's in Finnish, then it reads it in Finnish and so forth. And you might wonder that, okay, yeah, my page is in English and there are some French words in the text. What can I do? You can actually add the lang attribute to elements such as span, and you can wrap those French words in span and add lang attribute to French, for example. And I had a video here about where basically there is a beginning of the novel Anna Karenina by Lev Tolstoy, and I've added this lang phi to these paragraphs, but due to technical difficulties, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna play that right now. But if you're interested to seeing and hearing how English text might sound in like with Finnish pronunciation, I'm gonna share a link to the video later. So yeah, but let's check the page language. Yes, all right. And the next thing is to check the ability to zoom on mobile device. And for checking this, you will need a actual mobile device. So no, like no computer is good for this, or any like emulating things aren't good for this. You need an actual phone. So open your site or app on your phone and try zooming in with your fingers, like pinching, if you can. If you can't do that, like if there are some like you can, for example, use your fingers, then I think you maybe know how to do the zooming, then please do it that way. But like, just like try zooming in, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, then it needs to be fixed. When the responsive design trend came to be, there is an idea that originates from the responsive design that mobile layout should be unzoomable for some reason. And that's why there are still pages that don't allow zooming. So they have this viewport meta tag with this user scalable no, I think it was the syntax for that. And it prevents the zooming like completely. And that's actually a bad thing, because there are people who need, or for whom this is crucial to have, because they actually can't see, and the native zooming is the best way to see the content on the web page, because they need to zoom it up to like 200%. And if the like the native zooming is like disabled, then they need to use some other programs for that, and they aren't as good as the native zooming. But like apart from that, there are like things. For example, I like to, like if I see on a page, I see a group picture where I'm in, I like to zoom in and see how do I look like on that photo. So there are benefits to have that zooming too. And then there is this thing that sometimes when a site breaks, it's possible that it's usable only with zooming. And yes, it's something that we need to fix, like that the cause that made the site break. But as we all know, fixing bugs might take some time, and it's not like instant thing. So if the only way to use the site while the bug is getting fixed is with zooming, then well, it needs to be enabled and not disabled. So yeah, that was my third check. So to check the ability to zoom on mobile. And the last thing I'm gonna, or last check I'm gonna present here is to check for captions and transcripts. And if you have any like video content which has anything like any meaningful sounds, so for example, if there is somebody speaking, it like that video needs captions, or if there is a meaningful music or some loud bang that gives meaning in the video, it actually needs captions. And captions are different from subtitles in a way that they contain also like not just the like what's been said, like the speech, but also those meaningful sounds. And I heard this number that something like 80% of those who use captions aren't actually, for example, deaf, but like there are other users as well. So because there are often times when these accessibility things get dismissed because of like there aren't really users who use these features, or like people with disabilities, that's such a small group. But for example, with captions, the amount of people is like big. I don't remember the source for the numbers, so like it's possible that it's not 100% accurate, but it's still like a big number. But yeah, captions, they are for videos. And then transcripts, they like, it would be really good to have transcripts for videos too, because people who are deafblind, they rely on like only the textual content. So because they can't really like, they can't see, they can't hear the content very well. So they need the textual version, which they can then read with Braille devices, for example. So it would be good to have them for videos too, but especially for the audio content. So for example, podcasts. And again, transcripts need to contain all the meaningful information or meaningful sounds. So that's like, well, speech, and then all the meaningful music and other like sounds on the audio. So yeah, so go, like if you have videos or audio content, go through that and check that you have captions and transcripts where needed. So yeah, and all right, so these were the checks I wanted to present to you today. So the first one was to check with the well, like check your site with the keyboard and try using everything with keyboard only without the mouse. Then check the page language, so that like it's so that like it's correct, so it matches the content of the page. Check zooming on mobile so that it can be done and with an actual mobile device. And then check for captions and transcripts if you have any audio or video content. And I've written a blog post where all of these checks are and a couple of more. And you can find it from tinyurl.com/developers checklist. I'm going to post a link to the QA section after the talk. And my name is Eeva-Jonna Panula, or Eevis Panula, and you can find me on Twitter at Eevis Panula, so at EEVISPANULA. And my website is in eevis.codes, so EEVIS.codes. And if you add /blog after that, you can find my blog from there, so /blog. So thank you for listening. I really hope that you learned something from my talk today.